It's just got to catch up.
Just thinking about it.
You probably want to pause the video actually when we start for the stream. You know, just for bandwidth. If Laura's upstairs watching Netflix or something like that.
Nothing's happening on here yet.
Refresh it.
Yeah, it's claiming live.
Can you see us?
Oh, somebody says I can see people. Ah, there it is. Oh, bit of a lag. Bit of a lag.
I need to move my camera. There we go.
That's all right.
Hi.
I don't think she's watching Netflix. It doesn't say device on your
Yeah,
network is casting.
No cast,
She's not. We can't take over Netflix for her. And
No, should we watch it on the Skybox?
that'll be it. Right. Well,
Now that Sky have conceded to Netflix, it's just a really, really, really expensive set-top box now.
right.
It's about goddamn time, apparently.
Is it?
Mr. Faber, fuck you. I mean, hi. Thanks for tuning in.
That's Happy New Year from Lee.
Hi.
Yeah, a proper Happy New Year from the rest of us.
Hello from Sweden. Hello from the Isle of Man.
Hello, Sweden.
All of Sweden.
I like your cheese.
Swedish cheese.
Swedish cheese.
Mm-hmm.
What Swedish
What
cheese
does
do you
that
enjoy?
sound
Swiss
like?
cheese.
Oh dear. Do we need to tell Lee that?
No, you don't. Are you trying to say there's holes in my logic?
Yes. There was a big hole in this plot.
Should we do a Formula One show?
Yeah, before you leave any more debris from your jokes.
Right, let's go.
Hi, and welcome to this week's 3Legs4wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
Lee.
Sorry, I got Sean on the hop there.
I didn't know what was happening.
We're in different seats as well this week, so we're not entirely sure who's what and where.
A new setup for the new room.
This should be it.
Well, same
now,
room.
shouldn't it? I think this should be the order of execution.
Execution.
And
Yeah.
talking of execution, probably going to be hearing a lot less of Dan this year because for various reasons he's taken a bit of a step away. But Sean has said that she'll be joining us quite a lot more for 2020.
I will make a vague effort.
That's
That's
the type of talk
Yeah.
we want.
That's what
Positive enforcement for the
Yes.
new year.
Strange you should say that. 'Cause
And it's
that's
more than
exactly
we
what
do.
I have tattooed on my chest.
Good.
I shall make a vague effort. It's in Comic Sans.
Good. Yes, that is the font for those kind of things.
Sounds like my foreplay.
That's where I got the idea.
Dear God. So how are we all at the start of 2020 and less than 2 months away from a new F1 season?
Great.
Okay, yeah, pretty good.
Reasonable.
Did Santa bring anyone any F1 goodies at Christmas?
Strangely, no.
I got my annual F1 calendar, which is covered up by a
I
coat.
was going to say we can really see that there. Yeah, for the benefit of anyone watching on YouTube, it's the one behind the coat that's behind us all.
Oh dear.
Well, that killed that bit of that conversation then, didn't it?
It did. It did.
So, we've got a new season to look forward to.
We do.
And there's even some news happening, and it's January.
Well,
We've not
a
even got to
little-
test it
Yeah,
yet. There's-
A little
Bits
bit of
and
news.
pieces.
There are newsy things. We'll start with something two things actually that came out today about people leaving things. First one is Sean Bratches, the commercial director, is leaving his full-time role with the F1 organisation.
Been rumoured for a while, though, hasn't it?
Yes, he was getting a bit fed up of the commute, which when his office is in London and his house is in Connecticut, you can kind of understand.
Isn't he like a million years old as well?
No, not
As
quite.
it turns out, he's only 59.
Fuck off.
He had a hell of a paper round.
Jesus Christ. I thought money made your life easy.
Still think he looks like Martin Chambers, the drummer out of the Pretenders.
Just look
Quite
a little
possible.
bit.
Yeah, so he wants to spend more time with his kit and kids.
I remember when he first got appointed, Googling him, because, as you do.
We didn't know who he
and
was.
One of the first Google suggestions after you type his name is eyebrows.
Oh, okay.
He does have an astonishing set of eyebrows.
Yeah.
He does. So Bratch's eyebrows are gone or going.
Going well. He's staying on as a consultant and working from home.
Is Chase Carey gonna disappear as well, and then we'll lose the mustache as well?
I hope not.
Well, he signed a 1-year extension to the end of 2020,
Yeah.
or maybe into midway through 2021, so we can sort of manage and oversee the sweeping change that's coming. We can say next year now.
Can I hold my hand up and just say, just quickly, I thought these guys were in it for the long haul.
As it turns out, Chase Carey was only on a 3-year contract, and Bratches was as well.
Bratches is sick of the long haul flight.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably, 10 hours, 9 hours from Connecticut to London, so
Flying first class, but apparently you still get knackered.
fair play, yeah. Well, yeah, jet lag's terrible. I hate it.
Doesn't
suffer
matter
badly.
how comfy your seat is.
No, true. That's how good the sleeping tablets are.
There's some of the shit about traveling, though, isn't it? It's a different type of sweat. It's even if you do a short, like, say like 4 hours somewhere, and when you get off, you've got that horrible sticky feeling, which feels like you've been like bathed in Lucozade and dried off. It's horrible.
Never having bathed in Lucozade, I don't know what that feels
Don't know
like.
what you're missing.
I don't know about that one, but I always feel grotty after a flight because you hear other people spluttering around you. Don't you? And you know that
and the
air
plane is always
getting-
too warm.
Yeah.
It's recycled.
It's like a
air,
hotel room.
Not good.
Full of other people.
Yeah. A small hotel room full of other people.
Yeah.
You'd never be in a room that small with that many people ever.
No.
You've never booked into one of those EasyJet hotels then?
No.
Although I quite enjoy the idea of those Japanese pod hotels. Quite like that. I think that's quite a good idea.
Oh, no, they just seem
No.
really too claustrophobic.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
quite enjoy
I
that.
could definitely sleep in one, but I do think there will be an opportunity to be a moment where you go to sit up and you can't.
Head to the ceiling.
Yeah. I think you can sit up quite comfortably in them, most of
Oh,
them.
some of them you can't. Some of them are like a proper coffin jobs, aren't
Oh,
they?
you wouldn't want to sleep in one of them.
No.
That is claustrophobic. That's like sleeping in a tanning salon bed without it being on, I would imagine.
Is a claustrophobic that are afraid of colostomy bags?
Yeah.
A friend of mine once used one of the fully sealed tanning beds once, and her description of it was, right, I now know what a toasty feels like.
Oh, okay.
She had it turned up too high.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have eaten that ham and cheese before she went in.
Yeah. What was she doing? Laying cheddar all over herself anyway.
You're not supposed to put bread above
She was going to wash it off with Lucozade later.
Travelling, eh?
Cheese and Lucozade would give you a good tan, though, wouldn't it?
It would
Probably.
give you an
We're
Essex
straying
tan.
away
yeah.
from the
Or
subject.
I was thinking
We
your man.
might
Your
have
man.
strayed.
Who's your man?
David Dickinson.
Yes. Well done, Sean. Well
Why
done.
is this not a total shunt?
Just wait to see the one he's got lined up. Right, yeah, back to Formula One. Somebody else who, well, as it turns out, has already left. Fernando Alonso, it was announced today, has left his ambassadorial role with McLaren.
Monday
Yeah.
news.
Yes. So I'm wondering what's going to be coming out tomorrow when the podcast gets released.
Fernando Alonso re-signed by McLaren.
Well, I think this is more to do with Indy.
Well, yeah, because he's driving for Andretti.
Yeah, very possibly.
It's more Indy than Formula One.
Yeah, I have seen just slightly veering off on a bit of an indie tangent for a second. Marcus Ericsson tweeting his livery for 2020 being completely husky chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have seen this.
Yeah, and of course husky chocolate being tied in with McLaren.
I think it is Swedish as well, isn't it? I think.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. I think so. Yeah, I think it is
The
Swedish. Yeah.
general Scandinavian neck
Marcus
of the woods.
Ericsson to
certainly.
McLaren confirmed.
Pretty much.
Isn't he in the McLaren?
He's in the McLaren
I was going to
IndyCar,
say,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
driving...
but they need a new ambassador.
Yeah, that's true.
Marcus Ericsson stepped forward.
Schmidt, Peterson, Arrow, McLaren, Team Spam.
Yes.
He did tweet a while back as well something about not really being that involved with Alpha anymore as well. I think it was the day before Kubica was announced.
Yeah,
so-
he's cut his ties with Alfa Romeo because they've now
Shock
got
to all.
well, they've now. Well, the thing is, they've now got a new sponsor, Alfa Romeo, as well as a new reserve driver.
Yeah, PK and all, and what comes with the PK and all and money.
a pole.
RK Robert Kubica as a development driver.
Sim driver.
Sim driver, is it? He's not even getting in the car.
Doesn't look like it. No.
Not even getting a couple of FP1s.
Don't think so. He's
What would they gain from giving him FP1s?
Apparently, his strength is giving feedback on what the car is like, how the car behaves. He's very good at giving feedback, but we don't know.
No.
No.
I think he's very good at giving teams money to stay involved in Formula One.
Because
that's what
Alfa
what's
Romeo's
happened here.
official title for this year is Alfa Romeo Racing Orlen.
Yeah.
That's how we have to
Let's be
refer
honest,
to
it's
them.
not. It's not how anyone is going to refer to that.
Alfa
team.
Romeo.
Alfa
Yeah.
Romeo.
I was going to say that the last team on the grid that was called Arrow didn't end so well for him.
No.
So, you still think Alonso's going to be on the F1 grid in 2021?
Yes.
Where?
I think he could be Renault.
Ferrari.
I think I think Renault and Daniel Ricciardo will part ways in 2021.
If he has another season like the one he's just had, yes.
I think it'll happen anyway. There seems to be something that isn't mixing personality-wise with him in that team.
I think it might suit both of them for him to move on.
Shall we start the Ricciardo to Alfa Romeo one now to replace Kimi?
I don't think Kimi will leave. I've been thinking about Kimi a lot, and it just doesn't make sense with such a big shift in
The rules.
to get rid of somebody as experienced as Kimi Räikkönen if he still wants to be there, and he does look like he still wants to be there.
I think they would probably want to keep him if one of the bazillion F2 drivers that they've got ends up getting enough points for a super license. So they would presumably want him to replace the Giovinazzi. Then they would probably want
Kimi
a Kimi
yeah.
to look after the
I,
rest.
I think it's in Giovinazzi's hands this year, the Alfa
Yeah.
Romeo seats, because
I don't
like,
think-
if Giovinazzi can put Kimi away, and I'm not saying he can,
No, I
if
don't think
if he can, then they may look at retaining Giovinazzi and bringing in
Yeah.
another young driver.
Yeah.
I
like
don't know.
Schwartzman.
I don't know if they'd want a rookie with
Schumacher.
Giovinazzi.
Schumacher. I think it'll be Schumacher in the car in 21.
Possibly.
Regardless of what he does in F2. Even if he keeps finishing 8th, there has been just as mediocre Formula One drivers come into Formula One with smaller surnames than Schumacher.
It's not the surname he needs, though, is it? It's the super license points.
No, but he should have that by the end of F2, shouldn't he?
Where was he this year? Was he 8th?
Yeah.
In the championship. You don't get many for that.
No.
He perpetually finished 8th, didn't he, in
Yeah.
pretty much every race apart from the one that he won.
He was FIA Formula 3 champion, wasn't he? That's 25
Yeah.
points.
Yes.
I think he'd probably need top 6 in the
Top
championship.
6. We'll see. But I think it's still Ferrari and it's still Formula One. And I still think that when push comes to shove, the sport will play fast and loose with those points rules. Especially when it comes to getting Mick Schumacher on the grid.
He would have to prove himself in some other way if he was to bypass points, though, wouldn't he?
I
Like,
think
he would
he'd
have
just
to
have-
do some shit hop.
He'd have
not
to shoot
FP1.
himself capable, though, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
all, because the whole thing's a safety thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so if he's not crashing all the time in F2 and he's doing perfectly good like FP1s,
Yeah, if he does some Friday sessions
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
comparable to his teammate, then they might be able to get him an exemption if he was only a few
Yeah.
points short.
The worry for him, though, is there's another 4 Ferrari drivers on the F2
That's
grid.
the problem.
What
that
if-
aren't named Schumacher.
Yeah, but what if he gets destroyed by more than one?
I don't
of them?
think it'll matter. Mick Schumacher will be in a Formula One car,
I
Eventually,
think
yeah.
he will eventually. I
Yeah.
don't know that it's 2021.
but I can't see why they wouldn't have Kimi Räikkönen if that's the way it is as his teammate. You've got a man which is absolutely like nonplussed by politics within Formula One, an experienced Formula One driver. He is the most experienced guy on the grid, isn't he?
Yeah.
You couldn't pick someone better to be next to someone you were trying to groom.
Yeah, it's just that, I don't know, are Ferrari going to cut the losses if he turns out to be thoroughly mediocre? All right, it'll sell a few more, I don't know, shirts and cufflinks.
Yeah.
But
I don't think so. I think even if Ferrari cut ties, somebody will bring him into Formula One. I don't think Ferrari.
Somebody would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But well, look, Bruno Senna got in at the age he was at. Do you know what I mean?
Bearing in mind, Bruno Senna Bruno Senna stopped for 10 years because of what happened.
But the thing was, he didn't get back into Formula 1 because of talent. He got back in because of a surname.
Yeah,
if he hadn't have
didn't
stopped,
set the world on fire.
No, he might have been a perfectly good Formula 1 driver if he carried on going, but he didn't get back in on talent.
No, but you talk about Kimi then being, the most experienced driver.
Yeah.
I saw something the other day that gave the ages of all the Formula 1 drivers.
Hamilton second.
Yeah, do you know who's third on the list?
Vettel?
Paul? Yes.
I'm not sure.
Romain Grosjean.
Oh
shit, yeah. He's been knocking around for
He's
years.
older than Vettel. He's nearly a year older than Vettel.
Yeah, he wasn't as old, was he? Well, he was older when they came in.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, somebody who probably shouldn't have a seat.
I think he's had enough times. He's had enough goes.
Again, though, according to the people in the know, his ability to give feedback to the team on what the car is actually doing on the track is apparently brilliant.
I'm a broken record on this, but I think him being right about the development path that saved his career.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just for it got him in the car for this year.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's got like a future world champion of a teammate. Do you know what I mean? It's if there was anything to him, he'd be able to put Magnus away pretty handily.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see Magnussen doing well in NASCAR because first one to crash wins, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Haas haven't exactly got anyone just sat around in a test role that would knock either of them out.
No, they're all driving in NASCAR.
Yeah.
NASCAR's the only motorsport where you can win via fatality.
Isn't Pietro Fittipaldi
I think so.
waiting in the wings at Haas
He's
now?
getting smashed in Asian F3 at the minute.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He's
Yeah.
shit.
Okay. Fine.
Well, didn't he have that massive crash in Spa?
I didn't mean that kind of smash.
Oh, I was
meant
going to say.
the
Well, no,
socks-wise.
didn't he have the massive
He
crash?
did.
And he's come back not as
He
quick.
did break both his legs 2 years ago, I think it was.
He's kind of been off the pace ever since then.
It's 2 years. Needs to get back on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Michael Schumacher was on it as soon as he came back from his leg break.
absolutely.
Except for the testing session where Eddie Irvine nicked his crutches, so he had to sit in the car for an extra 20 minutes until he got somebody to go and find him.
It's all right. Ferrari nicked Eddie Irvine's championship.
Yeah.
He'll never forgive that one.
I still flabbergasts me that. I can't believe a team would not want to win so much because it was the wrong driver in the car.
But Eddie Irvine, did Eddie Irvine get out of that better? Because his retirement contract, his final contract with Ferrari was that they would provide him with a brand new car every few years. So he still gets a brand new Ferrari every few years.
Oh yeah, wait. I mean,
And he doesn't pay for it.
I think if you look at ex-Formula 1 drivers, there's very few that have been as successful as him outside Formula 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at Niki Lauda levels of financial
Business.
and business
Oh yeah, I mean
success.
he owns like half of Dublin, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
it's crazy.
I think Keke Rosberg's meant to be very sort of businessy, isn't he? He's got fingers in some pies. Can't remember in what sector.
Rosberg pies.
Yeah.
God. I like my pies to taste of something.
It comes in two flavours, beige and grey.
Yeah.
They are
Keke,
good
not
suits.
Nico.
And Nico will look fabulous. this
Soylent
year.
beige.
Yeah. They look amazing, but there's just no, you cut it open, there's just nothing inside.
Chance for a segue here. So does this mean Latifi is going to be the new Rosberg?
No.
Well, NR6 has become NL6. Was that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm willing to put a guarantee on here that
No.
come the end of the year, the search for another good Canadian Formula 1 driver will be ongoing.
I want to see the meme that I'm sure it already exists. I'm going to search for it on Instagram in a minute.
Is Nico Rosberg's career over?
Is number 6 is the career now over?
No, it was fucking brilliant. The WTF1 tweeted,
Is 2019
Nico.
career over?
they tweeted Nico with that picture saying, "Is Nico's career over?"
Good, yeah.
And strangely enough, the Latifi-owned company has just started sponsoring Williams to the tune of 30 million to replace the Rexona sponsorship that McLaren have stolen from them.
Well, 30 million was what Robert Kubica was giving them, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Rexona is a different. Well, we don't know that it's Rexona, but Unilever have partnered with McLaren.
which was the Rexona Sure and whatever the other name for it is.
But that may not be. But Rexona, if you remember, were Lotus. Lotus had a limited edition deodorant, and then Williams had a limited edition deodorant.
I remember
but
Williams deodorant.
But they had to be careful not to put too much martini colour on the on the deodorant.
Yes, it was blue and white stripes on that one. It was the France and Saudi Arabia livery.
Saudi Arabia.
Why am I saying
Get
Saudi
ahead of
Arabia?
Is that next on the list?
Because I was looking at that on the list. It was the France and Bahrain livery.
Yes, but you've made me lose my train of thought now. So I'm wondering if we'll get the McLaren deodorant, orange and blue.
Well, bearing in mind, it was Zach Brown that negotiated the deal between Unilever and Lotus in the first place through his media company.
Quite likely then. Yeah.
So watch out for orange cans of deodorant with a big tick on them.
We don't know it's going to be Rexona. It could be anything. Unilever's a huge company with many, many brands under its umbrella.
It could even be Wall's ice cream.
Could be.
Big year for McLaren this year. They need to They need to show it's that last year wasn't a fluke.
They have said they're not expecting the jump to be as big as it was in 2019.
No, but they need to be closer to Red Bull or whoever the third car is. You know, I can see Red Bull maybe usurping Ferrari and being like the team, but they need to be closer. They need to get a podium on merit as well. You know, like genuine pace, not shenanigans.
Yeah. It's hard for teams to do that though, isn't it? We know that stat. Something like top 3 teams are responsible for something like all podiums, but was it but 5 or something?
Yeah.
That was terrifying. That chart.
Yeah.
5 podiums in the last decade or something were not from those top 3
That
teams.
sounds about right. Most of them will have been Perez.
Yeah, I think they were. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So it was disheartening actually looking at that and like looking at Mercedes stats over the course of like this formula.
More than 5 it must be. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, it's definitely time for a shake up. Like, you know, it's the although I did. So Christian Horner was saying that it would take a miracle for this not to be a classic season of Formula One.
For this not to be a classic season.
Yeah, and he was really talking up the chances of Red Bull being title contenders this year.
Christian Horner spouting some hot air.
Yeah,
Never.
Now, is he bag sanding or sand bagging?
I still stand by the thing that Mercedes built a bad Mercedes and still won everything. So they'll build a good Mercedes this year, and everybody's hopes and dreams will be shattered in Australia.
Well,
it's a lockout, and Hamilton's half a second quicker than Bottas. Still.
Well, there was that notable downturn, wasn't there? Roughly mid-season, where Mercedes just appeared to just go on holiday.
Yeah,
They stayed on holiday.
yeah.
For 4 or 5 races. No, Ferrari did turn the wick up and appeared to just arrive in performance in 2019.
And then the new
midway through.
scrutineering regulations came in, and all of a sudden they
lost all that time.
time.
Yeah. Whereas Mercedes then just picked up where Ferrari left off and just carried on.
I had an argument with a Ferrari fan on social media about that.
No.
Yeah, it's. I think it ended with me sort of saying something like this genuine evidence. Like there was a rule that wasn't in place, and then it was, and then Ferrari were nowhere.
Even Binotto has now said that he doesn't expect Ferrari to overtake Mercedes this coming year.
Binotto turned around and said that it's going to take many years for Ferrari to be a championship contender. He said that even if it wasn't Friday, it was like over the weekend.
Yeah, it's
That's
again is that
terrifying.
Yeah, but is that bag sanding? Ferrari, because they nearly got there last year. Ferrari nearly got there.
I think there's not enough credit given to Arriva Bene for when he was managing the team, and I think
Because he could supply the whole organisation with cheap cigs.
Yeah, but there was that. What year was it?
They were all stressed as hell.
Was it 2017 where Vettel was in the genuine title hunt with Hamilton?
Until he stuck it in the wall in Germany.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was 2018.
That was
2018?
That was just before Thingy died, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But I can't remember what year it was, but I don't think there was enough given. Like, people seem to have forgot that Ferrari were actually almost there and then fell back again.
Yeah.
When people talk about Ferrari, it still seems to be people talk about Ferrari saying, "Oh well, they're just trying to get back towards Mercedes." Like, no, they were fucking there.
Yeah, the point I was making before was Ferrari they go forward and then they come back.
Yeah.
But every time Ferrari we found half a second and we're a tenth faster than you, Mercedes go, that's great, here's another 7/10.
Yeah.
So if Mercedes have relaxed since mid 2019, and they might have swung a little bit back towards 2019 when they realised we need to win a couple of races in the second half of this year.
Yeah.
How well developed is that 2020 car already? Do you know what I mean? Is it?
I mean, the interesting thing is when they're going to cut 2020 off as well, because I think all the teams you're going to be looking like a mid-season, like at least cut-off point for development. You know, where the full focus is going to be on 2021.
Yeah.
There's a theory as well, I think, about the whole salary cap thing. With if you start your development quite early this year, it won't get
It doesn't count.
next
Yeah.
year's salary cap.
I think
Christian Horner was the first one to point that loophole out.
But I think that was said last year that the big teams like Mercedes and Red Bull and Ferrari, when the salary cap was being spoke about last year, instantly put a small team like working on 2021 back then.
Of course, we'll get to see the Mercedes car. What is it? The 12th of February.
14th.
Is it the 14th? Oh, it's on the Friday.
Day before
Mercedes
McLaren, isn't it?
Yeah,
McLaren
Mercedes
on the
said
13th.
no. McLaren the 13th.
Yeah.
Day after
Mercedes are the
McLaren.
14th.
Oh right, sorry.
13 comes before 14, not after.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you should cancel your Valentine's plans or anything, but cancel your Valentine's plans was Mercedes.
There's 2 car launches on the 14th, I think.
Ferrari's is the 15th, is it?
This seems early. Is this early?
No, it's about right.
Well, no, because it's the week before testing. Because
of course.
Because testing starts on the 17th.
Yeah, that's good.
Which sadly is the Monday after we leave Barcelona.
Damn it.
AlphaTauri, that's the other one on Valentine's Day. Ferrari are going early, they're on the 11th.
Oh, the 11th, I do apologise.
Renault on the 12th, McLaren on the 13th.
But it looks like none of the teams are having the big media launches again this year. Mercedes are just having a private filming day and making footage available.
It's not right.
Are they not doing the online launch like they did when you guys went there a couple of years ago?
No, they're just... There'll be a video package of it being unveiled later in the day. There's nothing happening live, and then they're sending it out on the circuit for private filming.
You feel like shaking some. I know it's all money doing these media events and stuff like that, but you feel like shaking the teams, like going, fucking, you keep moaning about TV audiences dropping and stuff like that.
And fan interaction.
But engage.
Yeah.
Do it Piccadilly Square.
Yeah.
You know, do it somewhere where people can come and watch you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be like a big event at Silverstone or something like that, but do it in a public arena.
I agree entirely. We've spoken about this before, and we'd be kind of broken recording, but we said somewhere like
the O2.
The O2.
Formula One experience at the O2, but Formula One can have like its own auto sport show.
Most teams are based in the UK, so that would work for that. I mean, move it around the world every maybe even do it in Australia, maybe like the week before. I suppose it won't work because you've got testing.
You've got to do it the week before testing, but if
move it around Europe, then
if they change the testing to Bahrain, have it somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But have it. In Italy, there are 2 teams in Italy. Yeah, there are big arenas in Germany. Germany's got a huge Formula One following. It used to, dwindled a bit in recent years.
Or make it a thing where every year it changes country to one of the countries which hosts a race.
Yeah,
like the Formula One opening ceremony, if you like.
An opening ceremony is a great idea.
Yeah, imagine if they had it in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
the crowd for that.
It would be incredible. Yeah.
That would be as orange as well.
Arena.
Bathing in butter and Lucas, cheese and Lucas.
There you go. Just have it in the Netherlands at the Amsterdam Arena.
Yeah,
sorted.
Yeah,
we've just fixed Formula One again.
An opening ceremony would be the way forward.
Well, there was the before the Australian Grand Prix weekend last year, the big. They kind of had it as an opening ceremony in the middle of Melbourne, and all the drivers arrived by boat. And
it was a bit naff.
It was a little bit on the cringy side.
Yeah, but it wasn't broadcast properly, was it? It was, and there was
Streamed.
yeah, and the attendance, the actual physical attendance, was poor because it wasn't something people wanted to see.
And it was also on a Thursday afternoon when most of Melbourne would have been at work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think you've got to try these things, but Formula One just doesn't seem to try things. It did that London event, which everyone thought was brilliant.
Yeah, and it sparked rumours of a Grand Prix in the middle of London.
Yeah.
And even to the point where Hamilton and Button were like, this would be the layout and this is how we'd take it. And, but then nothing. Even after the UK relaxed its laws on racing on public roads.
Yeah.
Maybe with the new head of marketing in Formula One, they'll try something like this. We don't know who Sean Bratches is going to be replaced with.
No.
I'm throwing my hat in the ring, officially now. CV will be in the post tomorrow.
Yeah.
For the future of us having to have something to talk about, Paul, I can't endorse you for this role.
I don't think anybody could, actually.
Should we just send in a joint 3Legs4wheels application? We're all coming to take over Formula One, and we're going to fix it.
What was that? Oh, yes, the Saudi Arabia thing that I mentioned before. They are apparently getting a race in...
The accidental segue.
Yes. 2023?
Yeah.
That is what is rumoured. And I don't think there's a great deal more than that known, really. Just that it's on the cards. They've had
purpose-built circuit, won't it? That's what they're saying.
It will be, I think, purpose-built. They've had Formula E a couple of times already, which I think has been on street circuit, but it's a new market, it seems.
Riyadh E-Prix.
Yeah, did anybody watch that one last year? Because it was a bit...
No.
I don't remember watching it, which may say more about it.
They had to move the attack zone because it got covered in sand. If I remember right, where they originally planned to put it, it got covered in sand.
That's not ideal.
No.
Which, that's kind of the problem if you have it
in a desert,
in streets where there's no walls to keep the sand out from a part of the circuit that people are going to be driving on.
Yeah.
Shall we try and fix Formula E now? No, I've lost cause.
I think there might be a bit, more that needs doing there.
I saw people tweeting the other day, like, exactly where do I see Formula E? I can't believe how long that sport's been going for, and you still see tweets of people not knowing why it's on. Or
well, it was meant to be live on Eurosport, but they were showing highlights of the snooker instead.
I don't understand why Formula E doesn't make a point of just keep posting up the times, like regional times, a big list of countries. These are the race times. These are the places you can watch it. A picture would solve all these people's problems.
It's buried about 5 layers deep in the website, if you can be asked looking for the website. One thing though that I did not...
You can only find it if you go and see a leak on 4chan.
The best Formula One team for tweeting out and putting stuff on social media as to what time you can see the race, depending where you are in the world, is Haas. Haas put up a map of the world every time there's a race on. Here's what time the race start is in your time zone. Sometimes they don't get it completely clear.
Then they have a 10-minute window where they can almost guarantee that both their cars will still be running.
You can start watching it at 1:10 in London, but by the time it gets to midday in France, too late. Even though they're ahead of us.
One thing that I did notice about the Formula E coverage this weekend, though, and only caught about 5 minutes of the race on Saturday before I went out, this new driver's eye camera. They've now got proper helmet-mounted cameras on a couple of the drivers that are linked to... that are actually following the driver's eye line.
Could be embarrassing if they're walking through the paddock.
You've gone to the toilet with your camera on.
But yeah, you can actually see what the drivers are looking at when they're going into a corner, which in Formula E is usually a fucking hairpin. Yeah, with somebody parked sideways on it already. But yeah, you can actually see the line that they're looking at taking, and it was really good. And I'd like to see that on F1.
Well, they
Yeah.
did that, didn't they, with Nico Hulkenberg when
Once.
when the Force India team were doing and it was Force India back then.
Yeah.
When they were doing their thing with Martin Brundle on Sky, they filmed a load of stuff at Silverstone and then sort of stretched it out over half a season. I think it ended up with Martin Brundle putting a car in the wall, didn't it? At
You
Silverstone.
definitely
think
put
so,
a Force
yeah,
India
yeah.
in a wall
Yeah.
at some point. Yeah, that definitely rings
Yeah.
a bell.
Yeah, but they had a driver eye tracker on Nico Hulkenberg when he was driving for Force India, and you could see
It was
sort of-
quite the piece of tech, though, wasn't it? back
yeah,
then?
he
You know,
was
it was a
looking
big
so
helmet
far around
mounted
the
thing.
corner,
Yeah.
so far around the corner,
Mhm.
and you know, to be able to look that far ahead and not what's directly in front of you,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, is you know, the otherworldly athlete of the Formula
Mhm.
One driver.
But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see them bring that into Formula One for the actual coverage of the races, because this was during the Formula E race that they were using this footage, and it was one thing about it that looked really good. So you can see the apex on a 30-mile-an-hour hairpin.
I'm
Yay.
not sure what's good about Rosberg looking like 2 corners ahead. I mean, Ferrari have been looking like 2 seasons ahead for the past 10 years.
That's just because it's over the horizon. That's also called dreams.
Which I thought was what powered Hondas.
That was Earth Dreams, and they caught fire.
Yeah.
Actually, genuinely did. Hamilton's there like, oh my god, I'm champion. Buttons are like, my car is on fire.
Yeah.
What else we got on here? Bottas Rally. He's been ice rallying again.
He has in a Citroen.
I suppose Citroen are a non-F1 rival, so
Well, yeah, I
it's a
suppose it
neutral
makes
enough
sense, yeah.
territory.
Yeah. I know Charles Leclerc has said he wants to go and do rallying, but Ferrari have told him no. Under no circumstances are you to get anywhere near a rally car. Do you know what happened the last time we let someone do that? They ended up in a Williams 10 years later.
Yeah.
Go and look at his hand.
Yeah, apparently he didn't do too well, and ended up breaking a drive shaft and finished
10th or something. I think he ended
10th,
up-
and it was
yeah.
about 10 minutes behind.
I think what I read, though...
Somebody finished with a Finnish name.
it was
Thank you, Santeri and Asti, for sending us
It was
that.
an Arctic ice
Yeah,
rally.
but
Yes.
I think from what I saw, that his comeback was praised to 10th.
Yeah, because he was
Consider-
he was almost last, I think.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
I suppose if it keeps the race brain sharp in the off season,
Yeah, I think
why
so.
not? As long as
Some
you
of the
don't
people,
half rip a hand off. It's
yeah,
fine.
some people enjoy, you know, they just enjoy doing it, don't they? You know, the same thing with Robert Kubica. I seem to remember there was a driver who took part in the British rally when the British rally used to actually be on TV.
Top Gear Rally Special.
Yeah, something like that. It was, I want to say late 90s, and it was a lower grid Formula One driver who was just taking part in the rally because he just could.
Anyone fancies writing a total shunt about this person and getting that question in? Feel free to do so.
I might Google it in a minute when you're talking about something else.
I was just going to mention it. Did anyone actually see where Alonso finished in Dakar? Because I know he.
No, but I know where
was-
Carlos Sainz Senior
Yeah, he was
finished.
sharp end, wasn't he? But yeah, not as good as Carlos Sainz Senior.
He had lots of things, didn't he? There was lots of crashes and
He
things
had
went
an
on.
epic roll at one point,
Yeah,
like going down
yeah.
a hill.
Oh, and then
Or a
then
sand
the
dune.
windscreen fell out and he just drove off and
Yeah.
left
Yeah.
it there.
It's
Sainz
fine, just
Senior
carry
or
on.
No, Alonso.
No, Alonso.
Oh, fair enough.
I read something that I can't remember what team it was. Especially because who was he driving for in Dakar this year?
Toyota.
Toyota. All right, yeah. See, that doesn't make sense with the Honda connection for Button. But there was a team put forward that they'd like to enter Alonso and Button as a team next year in Dakar.
It would be a marketer's dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll be seeing Jenson Button doing Dakar at some point. He says he's retired from racing, but as he helped.
He did
Well,
the
he's-
Baja 1000,
he
didn't
did,
he? We've
didn't he?
spoken about that
doing,
already.
is he not doing Super GT this year?
No.
No, he pulled out of Super GT because young kid
Yeah.
lives in California and
I thought he was doing something though, because he was doing some kart racing the other day in preparation for something.
I think he's just doing like ad hoc events. He's not taking part in like
a
full
season.
Just sort of
full
pick
full
and
seasons.
choose,
He's,
yeah.
he's Alonso in it basically. Mark Blundell has definitely retired from racing. Though he's finally
Yeah, I saw that.
finally knocked touring cars on the head.
Oh, finally, after how many years? 8 years?
It must be at least that, yeah. I mean, he was always. I always thought that he would be better in a better car. He had when he was in F1.
He was in a McLaren.
An unreliable McLaren at the time.
I always looked at him as kind of a bit of a poor man's pencil.
I didn't think it was possibly at that level, but I thought he could have been. I thought there was potential there. He just kept getting let down by exploding engines.
I think there's so many drivers, isn't there? It's the same way as I look at Anthony Davidson. I think Anthony Davidson, given more of a crack, would have been better. Same with DeRista.
No, very true.
Definitely Jean-Eric Verne. Formula One missed someone there.
They sacked the wrong driver.
Yeah.
I think that's about all the sort of generally newsy stuff that
Arthur
we've got.
Leclerc
Oh,
was the
yes,
other
Yeah,
yes.
Ferrari's
'Cause
young
that
driver
wasn't on
thing.
the list.
It was Sean messaged it back to me because I messaged Sean separately, with Sean not being an hour.
Must put you on the
We'll
thread.
have to have a have a rejig.
we need the chat thread with you on it.
Yeah, we'll sort that
We'll
out.
sort
in
that
the
later. We'll sort that later. We'll sort
Yeah,
that
I have
inside
just
baseball.
I have just seen something here whilst I've been trying to Google which F1 driver was in the British Rally.
Yes.
Max McRae, who is Alistair McRae's son, could make his British Rally debut soon.
How old is he?
15.
Wow.
Bloody hell.
Peter Solberg has, I think he's 16-year-old child who is like
he
on
is
the verge.
insane.
Yeah.
I was watching him at Goodwood Festival of Speed. I've never seen anybody take the entire course that fast whilst also going sideways.
It's his father's son.
I think he's better than his father, and his father was pretty good at the time.
Bloody hell. So, yes, is it Arthur Leclerc?
Arthur Leclerc is now
19-year-old Arthur Leclerc.
Is he 19? I couldn't have told you the age off the top of the head, but yeah, he is now, like Charles Leclerc, part of the Ferrari family.
He was it Formula 4, German Formula 4.
Formula 4
He
last
competed
year.
in, and his race was the support race for the Formula 1. One of the support races for the Formula 1 at Hockenheim. We all remember that was quite an eventful Formula 1 race.
Tad.
Yeah.
So is he in GP2 this year?
No,
I think he'll
F3,
probably be in
sorry.
F3. Yeah, I think
he's
they'll
in
probably put him
F3.
in that because they've got enough Ferrari drivers in F2 already.
Yeah.
So much so they've had to add another team in F2 today.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Oh, yes, that was the other thing, yes.
There are now 11 teams in F2.
Yes.
Which will mean more crashing because there'll be more cars.
Because High Tech have decided to enter a team, left themselves practically no time to actually get used to the step up from F3, even though they're still in there. And I think rumour has it they're getting Luca Giotto to drive for them, who only left F2 to go and drive for Aston Martin last week.
Right, so Luca Giotto, perpetual F2 driver.
Yes,
Has been in F2 since it began.
pretty
Finally
much.
leaves to go and do something else.
It was in GP2 for a while. Him and Johnny Cecotto will be fighting it out for the longest
And if
career in the
any of-
series under F1.
And if any of them makes a mistake, Roberto Meri is just waiting.
20 seconds back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Artem Markelov
s-
must be getting up there now.
Markelov, yeah, good point.
Oh, yeah, of course. He's back
He's
back
back.
full time this
Yeah.
year, isn't he?
It's kind of a waste, isn't it, when you see things like that? Because if it's the feeder series of Formula One, it's
And no one goes to Formula 1.
Yeah.
none of those people should be in Formula One.
Yeah, if
do you
you
know what I
start
mean?
making a career in F2, something's amiss.
I suppose if it's the highest level you can get to, then
But do something like
But if
Valsecchi.
it's supposed to be a feeder series,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be growing
That's the
Formula
thing,
1
their
drivers.
hashtag is Road to F1.
But
And it's becoming more and more that every year, isn't it?
I know Lee hates Davide Valsecchi, but I mean,
Yes.
how? But I mean, he was 27, was he, when he quite honourably won F2, and then realised he wasn't getting into F1 and went, well, that's as far as I'm getting. I'm just going to retire.
Yeah.
And that was it. Retired from motorsport. And they were like, well, why? Is it have a year out, come back and see if you can get a shot at Lotus or one of the other Formula One teams. He's like, no, if I'm not getting into Formula One as an F2 champion, I'm not getting into Formula One.
Not only a bell end, but a quitter.
There's a similar thing in the motorbikes today. Moto3 rider Jakub Kornfeil has retired. And
Yako what?
Jakub Kornfeil, he's Czech. He has like.
Does
one
he
of
do
the
nasty
most-
things to cornfalls?
Maybe, but he
He
has
was-
one of the most.
he was the
epic
bunny
things
hopper,
ever.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he once someone crashed in front of him and he like took off their fairing.
Oh, that
it
was
amazing.
him. The bunny hop.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he's retired today essentially because he's about 10 years older than everyone else in Moto 3
Yeah.
and has just never
Progressed.
moved up.
So he's what, 15 then?
I think he's about 25, but too old.
Yeah, it's going to happen though, isn't it? I mean, not every driver who makes it to F3 is going to move up to F2.
No.
Not every driver who's in F2 is going to make it to F1. But it'd be nice if like the top drivers, the ones who win the championships in F2, can make it to F1. Do you know what I mean? They at least have a shot at Formula 1.
Maybe this should be, because I still disagree with the you win a championship, you have to leave F2 because it's if let's say George Russell couldn't have got himself in a Williams last year, for instance, he would have just been one of those endless drivers that wins F2 and then can't get into Formula 1 and then just falls off and becomes a Formula E driver.
Then you see him in Super Formula and
Yeah, and then it's all gone, done, dusted. But I think the idea of a maximum of 4 years in Formula E in either F2 or an F3, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, rather a maximum number of years rather than you can stay as long as you want, but once you're in the championship, that's it.
Yeah. So if you win for 3 years, or if you win once and then you come second for 2 years, then you still have to leave. But
Yeah.
just to give people the opportunity to be good and wait for that seat to arrive.
Yeah. But then again, you get some drivers that are good, get the seat, and it turns out that they've kind of stepped above the pay grade.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, though. That's not every driver that gets into a Formula 1 car is going to be Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton, are they?
No, some will be Julian Palmer.
Yeah.
I suppose the idea, if your champion could return, you've then got that second look, haven't you? Was it a fluke year, or actually, if they back it up and come second or first the next year?
It's like
Grosjean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Palmer, because there was nobody else
Yeah.
challenging for the rest for the majority of that season.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying he's a bad driver.
No, but he did the same thing, didn't he? He got to Formula 1, it didn't work out for him, he retired from racing and just became a pundit.
Yeah. And he's a very good pundit, Julian Palmer.
I think he's
Pulls no punches.
He's probably the best British pundit.
Yeah. I think when you look at the current crop of pundits that you get in, for example, Sky, when you got Martin Brundle, it's been a few years now since he was actually competitively racing in Formula 1. It's been too long.
Well, that's the problem with the Sky commentary team, is they need
Damon
a relevant Formula 1 driver.
Yeah, Damon Hill.
Yeah,
is another one. The occasional people that they get floating in it, and Paul di Resta. I like Paul di Resta's analysis. He's very, very good because he's very quick. But again, it's been a few years now since di Resta was on the grid.
No, but I think
he's technically
he
minded.
Still tests for things. He's been a test driver.
He's still on the Mercedes sim program.
Yeah.
But when you've got drivers like Nico Rosberg, and I know he splits his time between Sky and German TV. Jenson Button.
Yeah.
Jenson Button's still pretty on the ball. I love Martin Brundle and Damon Hill's analysis of certain things and their experience in, where drivers can be at certain times of the season if they're fighting for championships or if they're, fighting for a race win for Brundle won't know anything about that.
No.
But he still holds the record for the most amount of races led without winning.
It's called success, Martin. You wouldn't understand.
But again, these drivers are now, as driver pundits, are they outdated?
Well, the problem Brundle's got is
for 20 years, more than 20 years.
He straddles it, doesn't he? Because he's kind of like the new Murray Walker, if you like. But he's not, because he's supposed to be the driver side of the commentary team. If he was just a
Anthony Davidson's another one. Anthony Davidson, it's just been... He's all
good.
right. Yeah, he's
like
good,
him.
but he, again, is
You're right,
it's been a
Durist
few
is the
years
best.
now. Yeah,
Durist is the best.
I would say so. But again, Paul di Resta, it's been a few years now since he was in the sport full time.
No, but I even just the fact of still being a professional motor racing driver, and still winning the endurance championship and stuff like that, it still gives that level of credibility to it.
And don't forget, when Nico Rosberg retired before Bottas got the seat, I was saying that Mercedes should have chosen Paul di Resta. I did say that.
I do remember you saying that.
Yeah, I don't think he'd. I don't think Williams would have done any worse with him in the car instead of Kubica.
With Paul di Resta, yeah.
Yeah, they should. They should.
Well, they'd have been about 30 million worse off.
Would have been 30 million worse off. Mind you, he did come with a slug of money though, didn't he?
Not 30 million's worth.
30 million. Well,
Yeah, he came with the money from Royal Bank of Scotland, but Royal Bank of Scotland had pulled out of all sponsorships.
yeah, the whiskey as well though, didn't he?
White Mackay.
Yeah.
That is true. Horrible stuff.
But,
Just White and Mackay, not whiskey in general. Shall we shunt it?
yes, but we've got something first.
Oh.
I need to go and get a prop. Hang on.
Oh God.
Oh God, a prop.
Oh, hang on.
While Lee's disappearing
Talk
to get
amongst yourselves.
while Lee's disappearing to get a prop, Dan's absence and Sean's presence isn't the only change to this. From the start of this season onwards, from this show, the shows are going to come out a little bit later now. It's going to be late-ish UK time, around about 10 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because I like to get to bed before 2 in the morning on a Monday night after recording these, so I'm going to be mixing it after work on Tuesday. Unless the Patreon show gets up to enough for us all to do this full time. Which you can subscribe to by going to patreon.com/3Legs4wheels.
And it keeps us running.
Keeps us running, and apparently it keeps us in props as well.
It does.
Oh God.
What the hell are you doing, Lee?
Birthday to you.
Oh my God.
Happy belated.
Afford enough candles.
Oh hell.
Which is not our idea. It's an idea of a listener to give Paul a cake
With a bulb.
with a 50-watt bulb in it. Because there's no room for 50 candles.
This is better than the band that gave you a card still in the cellophane.
That is true.
That was
They hadn't written anything in it.
no, they'd given him a whiskey in a bag and gave him the bag that the whiskey was in and had left the card in there still in the cellophane.
I take it we're going down the road of eating cake on a podcast is not a good idea.
I
Oh,
don't.
it's fine.
I don't.
Cake is better than biscuit. Biscuit is terrible, though.
That is true. But thank you very much.
That's at this time of night. That's a lot between four of us. to
That
be
is
fair.
one monstrous cake.
It's definitely not keto friendly. I can't. I'm afraid.
Do I get the feeling I'm about to become even more diabetic?
Maybe.
I think I'm gonna have to get a picture of this.
Yeah, you are. For all those who are watching on the YouTube, they can see the
Can they see?
the-
Is it behind the?
it's behind the
lamp?
lamp.
I don't know, but I'm gonna
I'm gonna
tweet
move
this.
things.
I'm so happy I didn't drop that.
You nearly did.
Very, very nearly did. I'm not gonna lie. I saved it with a breast.
It's boob cake.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Boob cake. So I've just moved some props out of the way so that.
Don't move, Captain America minion.
Well, I have.
Okay.
It's too late. You can't tell me not to do it after it's happened.
This is facts.
Said Prince. No, I'm not going to. Yeah, so there's the cake. Paul's going to tweet or Instagram pictures for those who are not watching and will be listening on the actual podcast. But yeah, Paul celebrated a very special birthday in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, I hit the half century last Tuesday.
Yes.
Again. What?
Again.
Oh,
We're not talking a cricket score either, are we?
No, I wish I'd scored that many when I was playing cricket. My best score was 18 not out.
Do you
So
really
many
play
years
cricket?
ago.
Yes, you do.
Is it not like you like knitting where you just do it?
No, it can be quite difficult. I used to bowl. I was a bowler.
Right.
Sorry, just
So Paul is podcast has gone.
Yeah, podcast's gone awry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
it has just
talk
just
of
a tad.
shunting, I believe.
Yes, hang on a second.
The shunting tablet is out.
Yeah.
Good
Now-
placement of the bulb, by the way.
Well, right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's the.
I'm just tweeting pictures of food.
What would have been terrible?
I
would have
couldn't
been...
get it in, so I had to make the hole with my penis.
Fair enough.
Cheesecake.
Ah.
No, even
Look,
worse.
mate, you need all the protein you can get at your age.
But the totally forgot what I was going to say.
Yay, toilet humour.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say now. Never mind.
Bear with me. I'm still social mediaing.
Right. Would you like me to start Total
Yes,
Shunt?
I
Can we
think
do
so.
it?
I think we can start total
Social
shunting,
media
but
can-
no, definitely no phones during this.
Yes.
Right. I hope I haven't done this one before.
Great start.
I hadn't really thought about Total Shunt, so we've gone in there and I went into my messages and realised I have like 300 Twitter messages. So I picked one from Mr. Red, and I know we've had one from him before.
Wasn't he a talking horse?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I replied to him on the 5th of the 5th, 19, and I said, cheers, mate. And there has been no correspondence since then. And usually people say thank you when I use it. So I'm
So
going.
if this is a repeat, it's because he lacks etiquette.
Yes.
Good.
It also relies on us remembering back to last May.
This is true. This is
Yeah.
unlikely.
I think this is possible.
Right. I was born
Yay.
in 1953.
Okay.
It wasn't me.
Correct.
I won the European.
Hang on, I'm still doing maths.
67 this
Thank
year.
you.
I won the European Super V Series in 1977. That's,
So that's a
V
sports
double
car.
E.
Oh, and maybe not a sports car. I don't know.
Still sounds
VW.
sports car-y.
Yeah, it does sound
I
sports car.
have never heard of it.
It was the one above the normal V series.
I think we might have had this one before. We'll see. I raced in the US-based IROC series 3 times in the 90s.
I think we have had.
Do you know what
before.
this is?
This
ringing a
sounds
bell.
familiar.
And I don't think we knew who it was at the time.
This is like
and
the
I
best
still
of
don't
Total
think-
Shunt.
I
Yes.
still don't think I know who this is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, we need a guest, don't we? Because that
Oh.
was 3.
Yes.
Eric Estrada.
Fiat Estrada.
We need a serious guess
Oh
now,
God.
not just
A guess.
Jimmy
Would be good.
Haslam Jr.
Oh.
That's
Chases scum around the world.
Why not?
It sounds NASCAR-y enough.
Yeah, why not?
I go away. Facebook notification. I have overall wins in the 12 hours of Sebring and 24 hours of Daytona.
Okay.
that was one away from saying good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. that information is input.
Well done, mate.
My son also raced. My son also racer was a star of a season of The Bachelor. Don't think we have had this one before. I'd
No,
have
this
remembered
rings a
that
bell.
one. Does
that
it?
does ring a bell. Still
God.
don't know who it is, like.
No. I won a number of feeder series titles in my home country before moving to the US in 1985. I would like a guess. I have no knowledge of this one. No knowledge.
Want to go for somebody South American?
Even though they took part in the European V
Yeah,
series.
you would assume European if they move. They're doing Europe.
You would assume so. It doesn't have to be, does
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
it could be a.
This is why I think the European bit was a curveball.
Maybe.
Mm. So we've narrowed it down to somewhere in the world.
And someone with kids or kid.
Fucking hell.
This is not.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I have no wisdom.
You don't have to give it. Do you need? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
you
guess.
do.
Who's Dario Franchitti's dad?
Mr.
I don't
Franchitti.
know.
But I don't think Dario Franchitti's been on The Bachelor.
Probably not.
He'd have won, like. He's a handsome man.
I think The Bachelor automatically wins, does he not? He gets all the ladies that come at him.
Oh,
And
is
then
it
he
not
picks-
like
I
you get
think-
like a few bachelors and
no,
a few
I
ladies?
think it's one supposedly eligible bachelor and a load of.
I think Dario
Bachelorettes.
Franchitti would be good at that.
I think he might have a family.
No, but I like Dario Franchitti in a suit. I think would make an excellent
James Bond.
James Bondy bachelor man. Yeah.
Wilson Fittipaldi.
I have no idea who that is.
Emerson's brother.
Okay.
Right.
It was Tom Hanks' racing ball.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
To be honest, we've not got anything else going on, have we?
My first Indy 500 win was the same day as Senna's third Monaco win. Don't all come at me at once with your answers.
So Indy 500 third Monaco win.
Mm-hmm.
1990, I think that was then. 1990 or 89?
I'm getting a brain fade here.
Yeah.
Could actually be Emerson.
Could be Thomas Edison for all I know here.
Fittipaldi, because he was an IndyCar driver right up and because he fought with Mansell in the '93 championship.
Yeah.
So
It's about the right kind of age, isn't
because
it?
that was my first introduction to Emerson Fittipaldi. Was he was fighting Nigel Mansell for the '93 IndyCar championship, and somebody said, "Oh no, he was like Formula One champion in like 1972." I was like, "What? 21 years ago."
So if he was he 72? Was that
1972? I think was his.
He was born in 53.
He would have
Is that
been. He'd only
quite
been
young for
21.
that
He would have been too
age, for
young,
that
I think.
time,
Yeah.
Would you like another clue?
Yes,
Probably,
please.
yeah.
Currently, I spend my time as a race steward for the IndyCar series.
Johnny Cicotto Senior.
Does that mean IndyCar do something ridiculous where they've got the same stewards for every race?
I think they've got a roster.
Have they?
Yeah,
All right,
they've got a
okay.
few that they...
I don't think the same stewards for every race is a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Formula One do. It's just that there's one different driver steward every time.
Driver representative is different, isn't it?
Mm.
But again, I think they've got a handful. I don't think they've got like a different one every single race. There's sort of a squad.
Yeah, I'm thinking somebody Scandinavian for some reason, and I don't know why.
I think we get another clue before we and there's potential for a spaffer as well.
There is a spaffer, but
Good.
he hasn't given it to you, but I will. Number 9. My second Indy 500 win was in 1997 under controversial circumstances.
Now, I watched the Indy 500 in 1996.
That is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't 96, sorry. It was 1990.
5.
No, it was 96, sorry. It was
Was it?
96. It was when
I said that was the Jacques year,
it
wasn't
was
it?
Jacques Villeneuve.
Oh,
yeah.
is it?
Yeah. Was no 94? I can't remember. 96 was Jacques Villeneuve's first year, wasn't it, in Formula One? So 95, I watched the Indy 500.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was that
sorry.
Mansell, 95?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Still none the wiser.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember any of Jacques Villeneuve's rivals, even 2 years before. I remember Jacques Villeneuve not winning for most of the... He may have won that year, but he wasn't winning for most of the race.
Yeah, but it's like Mario Kart. You only have to sort of be in the lead on the last corner to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those fucking blue turtle shells.
Next clue.
Yeah.
Your 10th and final clue. The last corner of Zandvoort is named for me.
Oh, I do remember who this is.
We have had this before.
We have had this before.
Have we?
Yeah. Are you Ari Lyondike? Leon Diuk.
Yes, I am. I'm going to delete that one. Thank you very much, Mr. Red. You've got a strange name.
Now, if you want to send a total shunt, how would you go about it?
Tweet me at a total shunt, and you can also send them to me on Instagram at a total shunt. And if you've already sent one in and you want me to use it, then tweet me again, and then I'll get to the top of the list because I've got loads. Like I'm shunts for days and comments for days, and there's loads.
And you can also email them into 3Legs4wheels@gmail.com to put on the reserve list for weeks when Lee's not about.
Yeah.
And that's the general email address. general email address for the podcast as well.
Yeah.
And you can get us on Twitter and Facebook at 3Legs4wheels, and the rest of us individually at
Flood21.
At Sean Cowper.
and at Pablo100. Right, we better start a Formula Lee Winter Series, hadn't we?
I suppose so.
It's a tradition, and this is why we don't always do the F1 cars on the full circuits.
Mm-hmm.
Still on F1 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be a 2019 F2 car this time. I think the Prima, and the Japan short circuit in the dry.
Suzuka short circuit.
Suzuka short circuit in the dry. And we'll make this a 2-week one. So you've got until, what is the date in 2 weeks' time?
It's the third, isn't it? It's the day after Super Bowl.
It is the day after the Super Bowl, 3rd of, 3rd of
Super
February.
Bowl all Sunday.
Yes, got until the 3rd of February, 7 o'clock UK time to get those in. I think that about does it for this week, doesn't it?
That's us.
Yeah.
Back.
So,
Thank you to everyone who was listened, and everyone on YouTube that's joined in and watched and commented.
yes.
We'll do a little bit of a YouTube Q&A at the end for 5-10
Yes,
minutes or
I
so,
think so.
and we'll see you next week, all being well.
What is going? Why are you making your iPad talk?
I
halfway
don't
through?
know.
Come on.
I don't know why my iPad's talking, because I don't normally use iPads. I am Windows and Android all the way. We'll see you next.
Offering you videos of
Bye-bye.
Keira Knightley.
Yeah, we'll see you next
What have you
week.
been googling?
Bye
Bye-bye.
Bye.
What the hell happened there?
Damn it, Paul! You're a 50-year-old man. Stop searching Keira Knightley on Google.
Yeah, I don't know what that was doing. The YouTube app went rogue.
It went rogue.
Right.
Hi YouTube. We're still radio.
We are still here.
We are still here. It is playing. We can see the comments. Did you all have a good Christmas and New Year? That is
Yeah.
the first thing to ask you. Lot.
Yeah, hopefully you all did. I was saying on the Patreon podcast that I'm not really a fan of New Year. It's Tuesday. This year it was just Tuesday going into Wednesday for me. It didn't bother me.
You got the Wednesday off work.
Got the Wednesday off. Well, I usually get Christmas all the way up to New Year off work anyway, and then go back on the 2nd. That's how my work usually works. But then January's quite quiet for us anyway. Everybody wants everything before Christmas. Don't know why. Just do. So December's terrible, and then January's quiet. Usually.
Working IT people break things all the year round, so I'm just used to working constantly.
Yeah.
Lee, Stephen Faber has said bearded Lee is greater than clean shaven Lee.
Bearded Lee will be back soon.
With
But it was just too much. There was too much beard.
with unbearded Lee comes great unresponsibility.
Yeah. 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 There's already stubble. You know, it's on its way. Next week there'll be a beard.
How
back.
long ago was the shave?
Yesterday.
Ah, okay.
So yeah.
Is it
by
cold?
next week I will have something of a beard.
Are you feeling the cold with the bare face?
It was fucking freezing this morning.
It was, to be fair, it was actually freezing
No,
this
it was
morning.
proper cold.
Yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Danterby did something nasty to her car on some ice today.
Yeah, she's fine. So's Dan, we think. No, Dan's fine.
I don't think he was in the car, to be
No.
fair.
What have we got? Any interest in following the Monte Carlo rally and the debut of the 19-year-old prodigy? I'm sorry, Santeri, I still can't pronounce it because it is just too Finnish.
Go on, spell it out.
Kalle
Colour?
Rovanpera with an umlaut.
Rovanpera?
But I don't think it's an A. I think it's a like.
I don't know how
U.
the
What
umlaut
breed
goes.
of racing driver is
That's
he?
how I'd pronounce
That's
it.
the guy that won the Lapland rally that Bottas was in.
Right, okay.
Also, do you know what's taking... do you know what else is making its debut in the Monte Carlo rally?
Boredom.
The Dacia Sandero.
Oh, shit,
Oh
I
yes,
saw
I
about
saw
this,
James
yes.
May put something up about
Yes.
that.
So
Yeah,
that's
Top Gear
an
can't.
old joke for Top Gear fans
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, Top Gear can't manage to get one back from Romania, but they're going to put it in the Monte Carlo rally.
Apparently so.
It looks like more votes are coming in for Lee's beard. Bearded bean. I, for one, prefer the beard.
I didn't know.
Well,
it had
I
such
prefer. This isn't a new choice. I prefer the beard as well, but there gets to a point where I look like the bear from Bo Selector.
Do you not? Is there not a trimming option?
I'm not really. I
It all comes off to come out fresh again, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know, but I'm not
Fresh beard.
I'm not a beard oiler, and I'm not a beard
Okay.
trimmer. I'm caveman or nothing. So it's either on or off.
Fair enough.
Binary beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0 or 1.
I forgot to say it was in the podcast when we were talking about Formula E. I referred to Formula E to someone on Twitter the other day as Schrodinger's motorsport because it's either not happening and not happening at the same time. It depends whether it falls alone in the woods.
The sound of one hand clapping.
Yeah. Depends whether Nico Prost is doing anything and if Alan is watching.
I thought Alan Prost had dropped out of the Formula E team because it's now all Nissan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one thing we didn't mention. Roy Nissany
Yes.
bringing a shed load of money into Williams to be their test driver.
Well,
He's not bringing a shed load of talent with him. He's got about as much as his dad, who I think took part in one Grand Prix qualifying session.
Isn't he?
Did you get those files off that?
Oh, it's right. It was going to take too long to transfer.
Isn't he
sorry,
really old in terms of like Formula One drivers anyway?
And Nissany.
Yeah.
I don't actually know that he's that old, but I think he's just not that
He's
talented.
noteworthy,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
To me, that was the most like
He's 25.
jamming thing.
Really old.
It's
for
yeah.
the- Cheers, Gemma. Cardigans at Ace. It was just it's Williams being Williams again, and that's what made me realise that it's still going to be fucked. Yeah, it was such a Claire Williams era choice for Williams that you've still got a George Russell, which comes with Mercedes money. You've got a Nicholas Latifi that comes with Canada money, and now you've got a test driver that comes with what was it?
Israeli money.
Israeli
French.
money. What?
Israeli
Israeli
French.
French.
Yeah.
Israeli French.
Yeah,
So
he's
it's
got
like really, really
That's
French.
a national. That's a national anthem that we could look to make in the Rosberg style.
How French are you? Israeli French.
Yeah.
About as French as you can get.
I don't know where he's getting the French bit from, to be fair, but he's got it from somewhere.
Thomas Gibbons says, remember when Nissany's dad couldn't get out of the car and he could never get back in again either?
No.
No, I don't remember that.
He was... he's so bad that Sean Kelly still takes the piss out of his efforts on
Oops.
Twitter.
Oops. Yeah, I saw a YouTube video that I haven't watched yet, which is called "Whatever Happened to Formula One's Worst Ever Driver?" UDI'd.
Oh, UGE Day.
UGE Day.
Yeah, he was right up there with what was it? The guy Taki Inui.
Nah.
Taki Inui did more than a season.
Wasn't he the one that managed to get hit by two separate safety cars?
Oh, no
I
idea.
feel Narain Carter-Kane has a say here. He shouldn't go without a fucking
Rain
mention.
Carter Kane. It was Karun Chandok, wasn't it, driving for Caterham, who did that spin just after I said I thought he was quite good when we were watching the Australian practice that year. Probably about 3 years before we started this podcast.
Yeah, that was a drunken Australia FP1 after
Yeah.
Twestival.
It was. Yeah.
My liver is glad they don't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading about him. He's showing a lot of promise. He's gone backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he'd already done some racing or something with Jordan or
I
something.
thought he tested with him, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Caterham or was it HRT?
I think it was Caterham or Lotus as they were at the time. Yeah, I think he was only. It may have only been testing for them, and he just went backwards. So, Karen Chandok's gone backwards. Oh, just shut up about that then.
At least he's improved with his punditry these days.
He's
Yeah, I
again.
quite
There's
like
another
him as a
driver
pundit,
who's a
actually.
good pundit. What the YouTube comments saying? Are they mentioning anything? Any Q&As or are we just A-ing to ourselves?
I think we're mainly aiming to ourselves.
Which pre-season test is live on Sky? I think it's both.
both.
I think they're doing
All of it, yeah,
both weeks this time. I think they're doing it like they did before with all the Sky commentators and all the F1 commentators, which does mean at some point you will have to put up with listening to Craig Slater.
Yeah.
Can we fire Karun off Sky?
No.
Niska, controversial.
No. Don't fire Karun.
No,
Karun's
he's not
Karun-
top of the firing list, is he?
No, he's not Ted, but he's also much better.
Give me his full name. Ted. Hashtag where's Ted?
Where's Ted?
Hashtag where's Ted? He's not Theodore Slotover, but he's
He is
also.
though, isn't he?
Yeah. But he's also not Craig Slater.
No one's Craig Slater,
Yeah.
apart from maybe Valsecchi.
Yeah. No, I like Valsecchi.
No.
Valsecchi at least sounds like he wants to be there, though.
Yeah.
Like Craig Slater just is.
Just talk.
Yeah. He
It
sounds like he
it's a
wants to
chore.
be there on Adderall.
What was it you were saying when you went to them? Say, is it repeatable for live consumption?
Not really, but it just proved how much he knows about boxing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Fucking weird.
Who will have the best livery this year?
I don't think we're going to see an awful lot of changes. Alpha
don't,
Tauri are
yeah.
going to obviously change their livery a little bit. It's likely to be blue and white rather than.
To sell their expensive
yeah.
t-shirts.
Centerio Nasty living up to his surname, saying
Oh.
Jurista can go.
No, not at all.
That's exactly
Good
what I'd
pundit.
expect from someone with a Spider-Man tag.
What do you guys feel about the new Channel 4 deal? They're now allowed to show more. Channel 4 are now allowed to show more of the race in the highlights,
Yeah.
which I think is good.
What was
Yeah.
was the highlights last year?
Yeah.
Right,
but
there was
several
highlights.
hours
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
road.
Yeah, just highlights. Yeah, as Sean said, some hours later, and
And the British Grand Prix
British
live.
Grand Prix live. Yeah.
When's the Sky deal up? Is it 2022?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we may get F1 TV fully in the UK.
Well, we need to get F1 TV working here.
We need to get F1 TV working here. We've got some of it, but we couldn't get the F2 series that was on there. We got everything else, all the highlights packages, and all the full races going back to the 70s.
Yeah.
And the only thing that wasn't on there was the F2 documentary series. So I've not seen it yet.
Do you know what I think is really weird with this sort of thing? Formula One have really tied themselves in loops here because you've got one single sport, which they want to televise across the world, but they seem to just make things so fucking muddied and confusing for themselves. But then when you've got companies like Netflix, when you look at all the hoops they have to jump around by, things that can't be shown in this country but they should be shown in that country, they manage to work this out. Formula One own fucking Formula One. It's up to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't forget
We've got legacy contracts. Obviously,
they're still working on the
bound.
back of all the Bernie deals.
But it's Sky. I think it's an antiquated service anyway.
They pulled BBC out of the shit when BBC realised they didn't have enough money. Don't forget that.
BBC had enough money if they wanted to do it.
No, they didn't.
They
really didn't.
They seem to have enough money to do things that they want to do.
Yeah, but the sports budget was cut
Yeah,
massively.
they've been
Yeah,
to
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
off in quick succession, didn't they? They got rid of
They currently
MotoGP,
they suddenly realised that they were halfway through their contract and they went, "Can't fulfil this.
Yeah.
We don't have the money to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally going to be sending one reporter to all the races to do radio. That's it."
Yeah.
And so they had to go to Sky and say, "Please help us out." Sky went, "Okay, but give us all the rights."
Yeah.
So that's how Sky got the deal.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's been really, really harmful for the sport. It's in the long run, it looks like it's been a bad thing for Formula One.
I still agree with free to air.
I don't think Formula One's popular enough to charge people to watch it.
I think we need free to air.
I don't think there's enough content to charge people to watch it because most people, like myself, I love Formula One. I'm not going to watch the old races. I might watch Canada 2011 now and again if I feel particularly sad and want to be happy. But but most people just want to watch this season's Formula One. And I'd say there's a good chunk of people who don't even want to watch qualifying or testing. They just want to watch the race.
Yeah.
And you're expecting
Joe
people,
Public, for example.
Yeah, you're expecting people to pay a monthly premium for 2.5 hours entertainment a week.
Yeah.
A month, a quarter. Sorry. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
2 weeks. It's not like football. You know, like you can get people to subscribe to BT Sport or something like that, or Amazon do a lot of football now as well.
Yeah.
Because there's fucking loads of football. There's loads of it. There's loads of games.
There's one F1 race.
One F1 race. Two a month. Now again we get like 3, don't we? Now and again. But it's just.
I mean, Amazon at the moment have got 2 weeks solid of tennis.
Yeah, but look at I think it all comes down to Netflix as well, in my eyes. Because when you look at the value for money Netflix gives you for £11 a month, Joe, the amount of content, regardless of whether it's content you want to watch, the content they spew out, their budget for this year is 17 billion to put into things for the coming year.
We were talking about this, weren't we? About when they went from $9.99 to $10.99. There was like a massive long thread on Twitter. People just were like, "Well, that's it. That's too much. I'm cancelling my Netflix." Okay.
Yeah, you're a liar.
For £12 a year, you're going to cancel
for the first
Netflix.
6 years. You forgot you even had Netflix. We've all done it.
I remember Netflix when Alan Quirk was a member of Netflix, and he used to get DVDs sent to him.
When it was Love Film.
Yeah, Love Film. Yeah. And
Oh no, that's Amazon Prime now. Amazon
Amazon
bought Love Film.
Ah, right.
I remember Love Film and Netflix both coming through the actual envelopes.
Yeah.
You watch it and then send it back. Very weird.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right, it's getting late.
It is. We should probably disappear.
Yes.
Anybody got anything they want to say? Say it now or forever hold your peace.
Get it in the comments quick.
Yeah.
But I hope you haven't missed us too much.
Don't think they have.
I don't know some of the tweets we've been getting. when are you doing another show? It's like when we don't have 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, that was a genuine concern last week. We had a truck blown over.
It wasn't blown over.
No,
the guy actually had a seizure.
Oh, did he?
Crashed
okay. Right, fair enough.
But very ironically, Sean here is the person that has to leave the house and go to work to make the announcement to say, "Don't leave the house unless it's absolutely necessary."
Yeah. It's a good job you live quite close to the radio
is.
station where you work.
The other 2 people in at that time of the morning do not.
No.
So when it inevitably goes wrong, that's going to be...
So you're going to be there by yourself when it goes wrong.
I'm hoping I'll be on holiday. When that goes wrong, I don't want to be there.
What happens then in that case? Does somebody have to just stay on until somebody else gets there, or does like an emergency DAT kick in?
I do not know the answer. I think
If nobody's there, what happens?
I think there is an emergency, like if the out-of-towners can't get in, there is someone they would call.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters?
Thomas,
Not
there is a
Ghostbusters.
Drive to Survive 2.
Yes, it's.
Yes.
Is it? I've seen a date for it. I want to say March the 8th, but I might be wrong.
Definitely look forward to that. Keeper of Chaos, also ask Dan why he hates Leclerc for me. Oh, that's going to run and run.
Why do you think he's not here?
Now-
Too much, we can't mention his name without flying
now
into a
we've got
rage.
rid of Dan. There should be no Leclerc bashing on the podcast at all.
Yeah, indeed.
But that's why Dan's not here, because he just flies into a rage at the simple mention of the word Leclerc.
Yeah.
Now that Ferrari have got 2 of them, he just
Yeah.
can't handle it.
Can't even. Except Ferrari did even, and they got 2 of them.
2 Leclercs, and neither of them are going to win world championships.
And we're back. Right, time to go home. Thanks to everyone that's stuck around. There's still 41 of you out there.
41 crazies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The podcast will be put up round about sort of 10ish tomorrow night
Just-
UK
yeah,
time.
not quite in 24 hours' time.
Yeah.
Roughly 24 hours for the pod. But I mean, if you're that desperate, let's look back at the YouTube video.
Sorry, Mr. Wynnum. Lewis Hamilton's going to slap Max in his place this year, I'm afraid.
Time to press the stop button.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.